What is going on, guys? We are back here with another World of Warcraft video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing everything you need to know as a player about the upcoming patch 9.2.5. Now, patch 9.2 just came out, or at least it felt like it. It was released in mid to late February, and we're already getting a 0.5 patch to this patch. Many players have argued that, it has been a little bit quick. They haven't been able to achieve everything they've wanted to achieve in patch 9.2 before 9.2.5 has come out. And so they're a little bit worried. But in today's video, we're going to kind of go over a lot of the things that you don't really need to actually worry about, because nothing is really changing. Now, the first topic that we're going to be pointing out is just the release date. Blizzard randomly last Tuesday dropped the bomb that May 31st, 2022 is going to be the release date for patch 9.2.5. Pretty self-explanatory. They like to drop patches a week after they announce it. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. That's just how they do it. Now, the first major feature that is coming in patch 9.2.5 is cross-faction play. Now, Blizzard has been hinting at cross-faction play for roughly a couple expansions now, but they were very stern no on it. But after Shadowlands, there has been a big outcry for it, as the faction imbalance has become pretty massive. It's about 65% Horde to about 35% Alliance. On most regions, it's actually a little bit worse in the eastern regions, but in the western regions, it's about that. And that's a pretty massive disparity, with majority of the massive populated realms being Horde dominated. Area 52, Tichondrius, Illidan, such realms. As a result, Blizzard has come out and they've said, you know what, we're getting rid of the restrictions for factions to play together, and this is a great thing. Now, doesn't matter who your friends are, what they play, you can all play together finally in all forms of content, but there are some caveats to that. So cross-faction raiding obviously is something people have really wanted. It really helps Alliance guilds recruit, because majority of people who do raid at the higher end tend to go Horde, because that is just where the player base is. It's the same for Mythic Plus. And as a result, coming on May 31st, you will be allowed to play as an Alliance character in a Horde raid, or as a Horde character in an Alliance raid. Both are great. There are some caveats to that, though. So you do need to have, especially in Mythic raiding, you do need to have at least 80% of your raiders in the guild. And as it stands, guilds have not been announced to be cross-faction. Blizzard has come out and said, you know what, we just haven't had enough time to do it. But we will be allowing you to do cross-faction play. But cross-faction guilds will not be available until 10.0, or maybe later into 9.2.5. So, that being said, 80% of your raiders need to be in the guild in order to get guild achievements. 80% of the people in the raid need to be in the guild. So for Mythic, that's 18 players out of your 20 to get your guild achievement, or I think it's math, or 16 players, I'm not sure. 80%, that's all you need to know. Anyway, for things like Raider.io and WoW Progress, for guilds that are progressing the Mythic Raid, Heroic Raid, Normal Raid, you need at least 11 out of your 20 Raiders to be in the guild for it to count. So obviously more than 50% of your Raiders for it to count towards your Raider.io progress, or your WoW Progress, or your Warcraft Logs progress. I will say this, there could be some bugs on the release day. I would personally not do this until at least the Wednesday, just to ensure, because there is a good chance that when you swap factions, swap races, with it being a faction change, you might have your Mythic Raid lockout bugged. You might not be able to go into a separate Mythic Raid lockout, and as a result, you won't be able to raid that week. If you're only a Heroic Raider or a Normal Raider, go right ahead. This won't affect you. This is specifically for Mythic Raiders. Just be careful. I tend to wait a day or two after things like this are released in order for Blizzard to get all their bugs fixed. Cross-faction Mythic Plus is also coming with cross-faction play. The only thing you really need to know is you can play with the opposite faction. The seasonal titles are now the top 0.1% of the player base in your region, rather than being the top 0.1% of Alliance and Horde for your respective faction in your respective region. So it's actually going to be a little bit tougher now, especially if you are an Alliance player, to get the seasonal title for Mythic Plus. And obviously cross-faction PvP is coming. Other than that, it's the exact same as Mythic Plus and rating. Just make sure that you can make sure the bugs are all fixed before you step foot into Arena. The second major feature that is coming in 9.2.5 is cross-realm Mythic rating opening up. Now, normally we have to wait for Hall of Fame to close, which means the first 100 Alliance guilds and the first 100 Horde guilds have to kill the Mythic final boss. But due to Sepulchre being a longer raid, there's only about 160 guilds in the world, majority of those being Horde, who have actually cleared the raid entirely. And as a result, Blizzard has decided to just open up Mythic rating for those guilds that are struggling on the earlier Mythic bosses or some of the later Mythic bosses. It allows guilds to recruit and do other things like that. And it also just allows you to pug some of the earlier Mythic bosses, get your 2-box, get things like that on your alts and everything. And as a result, Mythic cross-realm rating being open is just a great thing that they're adding. And waiting for Hall of Fame is just a stupid thing because there's not a lot of Alliance players. The third feature coming in patch 9.2.5 is Season 4 of Mythic Plus, rating, and PvP. Now, don't worry. Season 4 is not coming right at the beginning of patch 9.2.5 on May 31st, but Blizzard has announced that Season 4 will be released later into the summer, so most likely in August or September. So if you haven't achieved your AOTC, your Cutting Edge, your Gladiator title, your KSM, or your Keystone Hero portals, you still will be able to achieve those up into later into the summer. So don't worry about that just yet. You still have lots of time to do that. Season 4 is coming with a whole load of content. So this is actually where the main content is coming. So to start out with Mythic Plus, there's obviously going to be a new seasonal affix, as there is with every season since BFA. It is going to be a Dreadlord themed affix where you kill some mobs and you get some stat buffs, some mana buffs, some things like that. I'll be making another video going over that in more detail in the future. But all you need to know is it's just more of a Dreadlord themed affix. Not to mention, the entire dungeon rotation is changing. So rather than doing your typical Shadowlands dungeons of Necrotic Wake, Mist Eternal Scythe, Sanguine Depths, all those dungeons that you've done over the course of Shadowlands, you'll be now doing 8 new dungeons. I say new dungeons because they are old. They're older dungeons converted into Mythic Plus. So we have the 2 Tazavus dungeons, Gambit and Streets, are going to be a part of the rotation. You then have the Upper and Lower Mechagon from BFA being in there. You have Upper and Lower Kara being in there from Legion. And then you have Iron Docks and Grimrail Depot being in there from Warlords of Draenor. Now, for PvP, there are going to obviously be new titles, new seasonal titles. There is a new arena that is being added as well. Not to mention the Solo Shuffle Brawl is being added on top of that. All great things. Now, raiding is the most large chunk or large feature being added. So there is going to be a new type of raid added in Season 4. Rather than a full new raid being added, Blizzard has decided to add Fated Raids. It's basically a Mythic Plus version of a raid. Not that it's timed, but it is going to have affixes. So you're in Season 4, you're going to go into Castle Nathria, Sepulchre of the First Ones, and in Sanctum of Domination. And in those raids, there are going to be affixes inside of them that you're going to have to deal with during the boss fights that will give you buffs, give you debuffs, things like that, which will help you kill the bosses on top of that. Now, the gear is going to be upped like it is every single patch. I think Mythic gear is going up into the 300 item levels, which is pretty cool. How this system is going to work is, no, you do not have to clear all 3 raids in 1 week, but rather 1 raid will be available per week on a 3-week rotation. So 1 week you'll have Castle Nathria, the next you'll have Sanctum, and the next you'll have Sepulcher. And after Sepulcher, you'll go back to Castle Nathria, which means if you don't want to do one of the raids, you just don't raid one of the weeks. And that'll be the end of today's video. Let me know what you guys think of patch 9.2.5. Do you think there should have been more content or less content? Do you think the content looks good? Do you think it looks bad? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Share the video with a friend. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.